Okay.
So let us start at the top of the mat. And let's bring our hands together. And let's squeeze our legs together. So it feels like we're trying to hold something between the thighs. And with that energy of squeezing in, rock your weight forward into the balls of the feet and let your heels lift up, either a little bit or a lot, doesn't matter. You can have your eyes open or closed. And start to shift your weight back again into your heels so that your toes can slightly lift and spread. And just do this a time or two, whatever pace you want. So I want you to figure out how to use your core to make your shoulders go with your hips. It's tempting when we start leaning into the balls of the feet and lifting the heels off the ground. It's tempting to lean your shoulders back, which creates a back bend. And we're not trying to create a back bend. We're trying to keep it all together. You're only changing the foundation. Okay. And the next time that your heels land on the floor, let them stay there. Spread the toes. Keep squeezing your legs together. Release the arms down. On your inhale, reach up. And again, don't create any back bend. Arms by the sides, exhale. And just the right arm up, inhale. Fine if you're going the other arm. Exhale over to the side, just to stretch the side body. Inhale through center, belly button to spine. And exhale, lower the arm. Left arm up, inhale. Over to the side, exhale. So to rise up again, push your belly button toward the spine so you get smaller and taller. And lower that arm. Both arms up, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. You can bend the knees here if anything hurts. Inhale, halfway up. And just step to plank, exhale. And again, we're creating that neutral back if possible. Let's press the downward dog for the exhale. Return to plank for the inhale. Let's do that 2 more times. See if when you're coming into plank again, can you avoid dropping the hips too much? Sometimes we're tempted to banana out because we know we're not staying there long. So keep that belly drawing in. And we'll meet in downward dog. We'll start to walk the feet toward the hands. Press your heels down each time you step forward a little bit. Eventually you'll wind up with your feet by your hands. I have so many ants on my mat because the cats. Okay, and fold forward, exhale. Rise up, inhale. Interlace the fingers, release the palms up to the ceiling, and exhale over to one side. Doesn't matter which side, just stretch the side body. Inhale as high as you can, belly in. Exhale over to the other side. We're trying to make that torso a little bit narrower as we rise up. Release the grip, exhale, fold. Halfway up, inhale. And step to plank, exhale. Stay here for a few breaths. Just draw the belly in. You could always do it with the knees down if you want. I'm going to go to forearm dog for the exhale. The elbows land gently and return to straight arm plank for the inhale. So you're going to use your fingers here to press you back to that down dog B and to pull you forward to that straight arm plank. And just let your neck relax as you do this. So when you're in straight arm plank, you'll be looking slightly forward. When you're in down dog B, you'll be looking basically at your ankles. And after your next down dog B, we'll just straighten the arms so we wind up in a regular down dog. Start to walk the feet in. Each heel touches down when it gets forward a bit. And when you're at the top of the mat, inhale, fold, exhale. Rise up, inhale. This time, steeple mudra. Interlace the fingers, have the pointer finger up. Exhale over to one side. Push the hips opposite the hands. Inhale through center, as tall as you can. Exhale the other side. So this is just to help you figure out how to use the belly. Inhale, that's what initiates your lift. And exhale to fold. Halfway up, inhale. And step to chaturanga or jump if you want. Exhale. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Let's come to hands and knees. Measure out your elbows so you know they're in the perfect spot. Interlace your fingers. Parighasana, Sirsasana A. Walk the feet in until they cannot walk in anymore. And then start to lift them off the ground. If you have any back pain, bend your knees to your chest as opposed to coming up with straight legs. But whether you're bending the knees in or keeping them straight, it's like you just have one leg. They're just going to move together. We'll just rewind from wherever you just went. So knees are either straight or bent. Eventually your feet are on the ground. Push into the edge of your hand so your head comes up. And let's meet in a regular downward dog. Just straighten out the arms. Shake out the head and neck. And after your exhale, step or jump forward. Inhale there at the top. Fold, exhale. Let's rise all the way up. Inhale. Lower the arms, exhale. And let's bend the knees so our fingers touch the floor, just to the sides of the feet. And we'll stay here for a sec. Notice that your belly is kind of on your thighs at this moment. Start to draw your belly button in. Even if your flesh is staying on your legs, just find that lift feeling so this low back, mid back starts to feel more spacious. Okay, keep the belly drawing in, fold straight legs, exhale. Halfway up, inhale. Send the left leg back, exhale. High lunge, reach up, inhale. Twist to the right, bend the back knee. Open up the arms. Inhale, high lunge. 2 more times just like that. Twist for the exhale. Inhale, high lunge. So we're going to bend the back knee as we twist so the tailbone drops down. As you reach to high lunge, keep your tailbone dropping down as much as you can. Fingertips down, back foot forward, inhale. And right foot back, exhale. High lunge, inhale. And twist, exhale. So the twisting should be real comfy in your low back. Inhale. If high lunge is not, just keep that back knee a little bit bent. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. This time hands to the floor. Step back, chaturanga. Exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Downward facing, exhale. We'll come to the hands and knees again. Measure out the elbows again. And place the palms flat so that your forearms are parallel to each other. And place the head sort of lined up with the wrists. Lift the knees. And make a choice. Legs straight or bent. And it takes a little bit of tipping. The weight of your butt has to match the weight of your legs. So if you're keeping your legs straight, your butt has to go a little bit further over your forearms than if they're bent. And we'll just rewind. We'll meet in straight arm downward dog. Shake out your head and neck. And after your exhale, step or jump forward. Inhale there. And fold, exhale. Bend into the knees. Inhale, reach up. So now we're in the back bend form of Urdhva Dhanurasanas. But don't overdo the back bend. So your butt is sticking out a little bit, but still angle your tailbone slightly down. So you feel some lift here through the low belly. And we'll transfer that into Backbends. Knees toward the armpits. Keep your inner feet touching. They already were touching. So all you have to do is point your toes and start to lift your heels up. And the feet and the legs move like one unit. And when you can, jump it back. Vinyasa. I'm going to move this meditation pillow since none of my kitties want it. I might as well let them have it on the other side of the room. Okay, let's lift the right leg up high. Inhale. Step to the hands. Exhale. Simple twist. Left hand just stays there. Right arm up. And let's lean both shoulders back. Push that right hip back. And you should feel stretch here through the right outer glute, like you would in pigeon. But it's very active stretch. If you don't swing this right hip back, if instead it swings out to the side, you will avoid that stretch, and then it's not really that fun. Okay, untwist. Step back, downward dog. Left leg up high, inhale. Step the left foot forward, exhale. Simple twist. That right shoulder is just gonna stay more or less over that right hand. We'll try to stack the left arm on that. We'll try to stack that left knee over the left ankle. And slowly untwist, step back, vinyasa. And when you get to downward dog, we're going to lower to the forearms. You could always come to your knees first if you prefer. And we'll work toward Vishvamitrasana, either jumping or kicking. Once you are up, bring your inner feet together. Squeeze your thighs together. And we're going to meet in a straight arm downward dog. However you want to get there is a fine way. Shake out your head and neck. And after your exhale, step or jump forward. Inhale there. Fold, exhale. Bend the knees, Urdhva Dhanurasanas. So here's the back bend one that you did before. We'll just take it back and forth between that one and the one where your fingertips are just outside of your feet. So here your back is a little more rounded. With the arms up, you're more arched. So just take your time and see if you can keep your knees squeezing together. Keep your weight on the heels. Keep your toes spread. I know your thighs are starting to die, as are mine. Okay, let's straighten the legs and fold. We'll turn this into a tripod headstand by starting in the same Backbends that you did before. So hands down, knees to armpits. Shift your weight. Keep your feet touching each other. I'm just going to back up for the sake of the mat and the camera, but you're fine probably where you are. Keep your feet touching each other as you bend your elbows and lower to your head. And as you lift your legs, it's like you have one leg, they're communicating. And from your tripod, you could either just release and relax in a child's pose, or you can go to chaturanga. So tripod to chaturanga just takes a little bit of commitment. You are definitely strong enough to do it. Okay, we'll lift the right leg high from downward dog. Inhale. Step to the hands. Exhale. High lunge. Inhale. Twist to the right so that left arm hooks outside the right leg. Woo, I started to fall over. We'll get our palms together. We'll press our leg into our arm. And then just step your back foot to meet your front foot so that your feet touch, your knees touch. Maybe you can twist a little deeper. And step the left foot back again. Let's do that same thing. Back foot forward. And left foot back. One more time. And this last time that you wind up in your twisted lunge, we'll untwist. And we'll just turn it into triangle pose. Back heel down. Right hand to big toe. Left arm up. So that right quad, they've done so much work. And now it gets a bit of a reward. Still the quads are engaged, but in a much different way. It's a bit of relief. Okay, untwist. Back foot forward, inhale. Fold, exhale. Utkatasana, inhale. This time Backbends to tripod, returning to Backbends. And then chaturanga out of there. So it's just about where are you looking. So let's all go to Backbends, look forward. Arms are straight-ish. And bend your elbows, place your head. Use your abdominals to lift your legs. You don't even have to lift them all the way up, however high you want. And start to bring your knees to your chest again. Round your back. Place your legs where you want and start to pull yourself forward. Look forward, chest forward, and jump back when you're ready. We'll meet in downward dog. Okay. We'll lift the left leg high. Inhale. Step to the hands. Exhale. Twisted lunge. So you can lift the arms up, make a prayer, and then dive in, or any other way. I usually undo the prayer, hook high up on the arm, and redo it. All right, and 3 times at your pacing, you'll just move your back foot forward, and then that same foot back again. Looking down is going to help your balance a lot. But if that's too easy, feel free to look somewhere else. Whenever you wind up that last time in your twisted lunge, just unravel yourself. Turn it into triangle pose. Left hand to big toe on your left foot. Or any other hand position, of course. Right arm up. Push the ball of your left foot down. Okay. And we'll slowly get out of there. I feel like something else came next. But I think Parighasana because I can't remember what it was. So we'll meet in downward dog. Maybe nothing came next. Usually my sequences get long and I start to feel the effects of senility and tiredness. Okay. Let's step our right foot forward. Launch the left leg up on an inhale. Do whatever your current standing split seems to be. On the exhale, bend both knees. Touch the knees together and touch your forehead to the knees. Inhale, extend everything away. Look slightly forward of your right foot. Exhale, curl it all in. Knees and forehead all touch. Inhale, extend it all away. One more time like that. And it's fine if you can't get everything to touch. You just try to curl into the littlest ball that you can. So we'll curl into that little ball, but then we'll let the left foot land next to the right foot and squat. Whatever your definition of squat is. If it hurts your knees to be this low, don't go this low. Okay, gently come to your butt somehow. Lift the arms and legs. And try to glue the legs together again. Okay, we'll return to our squat. You could pretend someone is holding you and they give you a little pull forward. Let's straighten the legs, drop the head. Inhale there. And jump or step back, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Downward facing, exhale. We'll bring the left foot forward. Launch the right leg up. You can stack that right hip so the leg goes higher. Exhale, curl it all in. Inhale all the way. Exhale, the back will round. Hips will square. Inhale, everything's lengthened. Maybe the right hip is up. One more time. And take your time coming into the squat. First, find that little spot where your head and knees are close together. Then lower the foot, and then drop your butt. Ooh, wipey sweat time. Okay, down we go. Legs up. So the arms up thing is not a traditional Navasana, but for a lot of us, it is going to help us sit a little taller, maybe get our chest a little higher. And let's return to our squat. You can always actually hold on to something if you want. And we'll straighten the legs and fold. Halfway up, inhale. Step or jump back, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Downward facing, exhale. Okay, step the right foot maybe 12 inches forward. Lean your shoulders over your wrists. Little handstand hop. So that left leg is going to kick up. The right leg is going to push. And as you feel like your right leg wants to lift, try to plug it into the socket. And we'll meet in downward dog. Shake out your head. Let's bring the right foot all the way forward between the hands. Lower the back knee down, Anjaneyasana. We'll just stay here for a moment. You can either have your hands on the ground or on your left thigh. I need to adjust the pants a little bit. Okay, twisted triangle. So we'll lift the back knee, adjust the back foot so the heels line up. Left hand to either side of your foot, right arm up. Look up if you can. 1, 2, push into the ball of your right foot. 3, 4, and 5. We'll slowly come out of there. Slide the left foot back again, so you're in a longer lunge. We'll turn this front foot to a diagonal so that we can be in this half squat, half hamstring stretch. Some of you, your hands are going to have to help you balance, so they could be anywhere that you need for that to happen. If you don't need your hands, right shoulder in front of right knee. Open up the arms. If you can, bind around your right leg. So your right arm will be forward rotation of the shoulder. Your right knuckles will be by your right hip. Your right palm is facing away from your body so that your left wrist can just go plunk itself into your right palm. Okay, let that go. Turn toward your right foot and vinyasa. And let's do all of this on the other side. So it started with stepping into that handstand. So this time the left foot will come forward a little bit. The shoulders will shift. And then the right leg will do the kicking. I feel very uncomfortable on this side, but that doesn't actually mean that it's not going to work. If you're uncomfortable, you just might have to think about it differently. And we'll meet in downward dog. Take your time. Felt like about equal time to me, but that doesn't mean that it was. So finish your thing. And then same leg, left foot's going to step forward. Anjaneyasana. So you've noticed, I'm sure, that you have unequal splits. I'm pretty sure that's why we have unequal handstand approaches, such as life. Okay, we'll turn it into twisted triangle. Slide that right foot in a smidge, line up the heels. Back foot's turned out about 45 degrees. We'll try to get that right shoulder over the right wrist. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. We'll unwrap it. Step that right foot back again, so you're in a longer shape. Left foot's going to turn to an angle, and we'll be in this no man's land of a squat and a hamstring stretch. If your heel is up on this left foot, a very simple fix is just slide your right foot further back. It's going to drag that heel down. So if you can, bind around your leg. Your left hand will hold your right wrist or forearm, and you'll look over your right shoulder. And we'll slowly get out of there. Vinyasa at your leisure. We meet in downward dog. Okay, bring your right hand to the center of the mat, so your right foot can step outside of the hand. Back knee down, so it's a lizard. Walk the hands forward and come onto the elbows. So the elbows are where your hands just were. Try to get your right elbow as heavy as your left elbow. And then when you're ready, roll the back toes, lift the back leg, or back knee, I should say. You could stare at your back knee, make sure it's straight. And we'll prop ourselves up on the palms again. Lower the back heel. And let's scoot this right foot in more so we have a heel to arch alignment. So if we took a Sharpie marker and we drew it back, it would go heel to arch. The legs are like warrior 2. We just have our hands down. Okay, when you're ready, left arm up. Try to lean your left shoulder back and scoop your right hip under. One more breath here. Turn it into the bind if you can. That right thumb is going to lead your right arm under your leg. And then it's very much like what you did in that half squat earlier. Your knuckles of your right hand are on your hip area and your palms facing out so that your left arm just goes right into it. Either stay here or bound triangle for your inhale and bound Parighasana for your exhale. And when you're going to straighten the leg for the bound triangle, it may or may not get all the way straight. You just go toward what you can. Just notice how your leg is pushing into your arm. You don't want it to take the arm out of the socket. You have to keep the attention there so that you don't overdo any shoulder stretch. Okay, if you've done all that vinyasa stuff, the vinyasa just means moving with breath. We'll meet in that bent knee version. Release your grip. Lower the back knee down. And we'll walk this right foot to the left for pigeon. Downward facing pigeon. So you can lower your forehead to the floor. Your hands can be wherever they need to be to help you keep square. Okay, and we'll slowly get out of there. Vinyasa. Let's do it all on the other side. So left hand to the center of the mat, left foot outside the hand, back knee down, hang out for a sec. Make sure it's all good. To get your elbows down, you're going to walk your hands forward so that the elbows just replace your hands. Left arm heavy. You curl your back toes, lift your right knee, stare at it. You thought it was straight and it wasn't. You might have seen the post I put of a salsa class I took. The teacher in that class always yells, "You think you got it, but you don't. Do it again." She cracks me up. Okay, so we'll come to the palms. And we'll creep that left foot in so that we can have our warrior two stance. Any adjustment that you need to make to entertain that stance. And left hand is just going to stay on the ground there, right arm up. And just practice scooping that left hip under. Because we want that to be the initiate of this pose. Either stay like that or any version of Parighasana. What we did on the other side was binding. So it's the left hand that's going to hold the right wrist. You can either stay like that or move back and forth from your Trikonasana. If you're moving back and forth, it was 4 times. If you're staying in that Parighasana, it's going to be just those breaths. We'll meet with the knee bent, Parighasana. We'll slowly get out of the arm situation and walk that left foot to the right for pigeon. Downward facing. Okay, and we'll somehow get out of there. Vinyasa. From downward dog, step or jump your feet to your hands. Inhale whenever you get there. Fold, exhale. Bend into the knees. Utkatasana. And flying pigeon, right ankle to left, lower thigh. Normally we would do this with the hands in prayer, but for now let's reach up. We're going to stick our butt out, reach forward, touch our chest toward our shin bone, and then we'll reach up again, which may or may not mean we need to change our standing leg a little bit. So reaching forward, chest taps on shin bone, and reaching up, shoulders over hips. Let's do that one more time. Then we'll bring the fingers all the way to the floor, palms flat. And we'll rock the weight forward into Backbends, which is like pigeon stretch, just in the air. Feel free to go to pigeon instead. Those of you in Backbends, lower your left leg, tap the toes, lift it up again. 2 more times. So you're pressing your shin bones into your arms. And let's all just meet in flying pigeon again. Those of you who went all the way to the floor, don't worry, stay there. We're just going to rise up and take a vinyasa. So if you went all the way down to pigeon, you can crawl out of there in a different way. We'll meet in downward dog. So now the right hip is more awake. Should be feeling good. Let's try all that on the other side. So we'll step or jump forward. Inhale. Hold, exhale. Bend the knees. Inhale. And get your balance, left ankle to lower right thigh. Reach up when you can. Then 3 times, lean forward. Your butt will move back and counterbalance your arms. And inhale, stack it. Exhale, lean forward. Inhale to stack. One more time. And we'll bring the hands through prayer. You could also stay here if you don't want to come into pigeon and you don't want to come into Backbends. When you're ready, you'll move into your arm balance. Lift your right leg and play with where your right leg is in space. And if you were in Backbends, you'll return to your right foot. You'll stand and vinyasa. All paths will lead us to downward dog. You'll notice I got real quiet in that side 2 Backbends. Oh, it's too hard to talk at the same time. Okay, let's jump through, have a seat. Double pigeon. Right leg on top. Oh, you're caught in this house. Okay, put your right arm on the arch of the foot. To get higher up on the arm, you might want to lean. This knee will start to come up and your butt will come up. That's fine, we're going to fix it in a second. Then you can get your forearm down. You can get your shoulder or tricep on the arch. And then once that's set, you just sort of drag yourself back to where you started. You can put your left hand on your right hand, just keep your forearm on the ground, or you can come to prayer. Look over your left shoulder. And let's slowly get out of there and change sides. I was thinking maybe we should vinyasa, and then I felt the sweat start to drip into my eyeball and said, no, just change sides. Okay, so feet are flexed. This top knee is dropping down. If it's up here forever, don't worry about it. Try to not care so much. That will help it drop down, actually. Okay, so leaning to the side, however much you want. Get as high up on the arm as you can. And if you're going to come into the prayer version, maybe your elbow just stays poking into your mat. Sometimes I choose the forearm down version because it allows me maybe a little more grounding, a little more twisting. Okay, so we'll slowly get out of there. And let's meet in downward dog, however you want to go. Let's walk the feet in about 8 inches. Lean our shoulders over our knuckles. Squeeze our forearms together. And just take a few little jumps up toward handstand. We'll meet in downward dog again. Whenever you've had enough of such things. Let's bring the right foot forward. Anjaneyasana. Hands to the thigh. Chest up. Let's reach back with the left hand for the inside of this back ankle. So we're going to keep everything back here relaxed. We're not going to relax the front leg, however. We're going to push the front heel into the floor and drag it back. The result of dragging the heel back energetically is the front bends deeper. Your hips are going to drop. You'll feel this crazy stretch through the left pec and shoulder. And if you can keep your hips square, also through your left hip flexor. Okay, let that go. Prasarita A. This will vinyasa to the side. 10 toes facing the long edge of the mat. Hands between the heels, inhale, and head down, exhale. You're just pulling your chest through your legs. If it's too easy, just move your feet a little closer together. Let's straighten the arms and walk our hands to the left foot for that Asana facing the other side. First, just with the hands on the left knee, chest up. And when you can, reach back. And try not to be too tense. This arm is just going to be straight. Doesn't really have to do anything. It's just holding on. My fingers have to work. And the weight of the leg moving back is going to be what opens everything. You don't really have to think about the leg pushing back right now. If you just think about bending the front leg, the rest will happen. Okay, we'll let that go. Then to the side. Prasarita C. We'll interlace the fingers behind the back, all the way to the webbing, and start to reach your knuckles away from your body. I tend to keep my elbows bent for a little longer than normal, because then I can roll each shoulder back. Because otherwise I get no movement at all in this pose unless the teacher comes and pushes my hand. And for the 5 months of having no teacher, 6 months, whatever, we have to figure out how to make these adjustments. Okay, let's let that go. Walk your hands toward the right foot. Lift the back heel. So that's just an easy lunge. We're going to hook our left arm over that right leg as far as we can. So your torso flesh has to move outside of the thigh. Then either hands to prayer or snake your left arm under so that your knuckles are on your left hip, palm facing out, and bring your right arm around. The hard part is really that bottom arm. So make sure it's comfortable, that you're not pushing your arm out of the socket. If you want a little more stretch, bring your back heel to the floor. This is a bound Parighasana. Let's slowly get out of there and just spin around to the other side. Just starting in a nice easy lunge, because it's way easier to get that bind if your back heel is up. You could even do it with your back knee down. So step one of the bind is really getting a big hook. So if your knee is touching on your arm low down, like over here, the bind isn't going to work. You got to get it all the way to the armpit. That's why practice takes decades. Once you're on the armpit, then you can start to negotiate this forearm under the leg. And if you want to keep working shoulders a lot, maybe just keep your back heel off the ground. If you want to include hips more, put your back heel down. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. Quarter turn to the side. For Prasarita D, reach for the big toes. Inhale. And fold, exhale. So notice how your hands are basically trying to pull your toe off your foot, but your toe is pushing down into the floor, making it such that your hands don't succeed. But there's some tension there. Your arms are really strong. Okay, straighten the arm. Turn to the right leg. Asana. Splits. Just creep your feet apart, your knees apart. Let's add just a little bit of twist here. So we're going to lower to the left forearm. The right palm will just be down on the outside of that right knee. The right hand is going to push down and get our right hip to move back. It's maybe a 4-inch twist situation, but it lets you get your hips a little squarer. And we'll just come through Asana over to the other side. So the hand will help you lift your hips up enough to pivot around on the feet. And eventually you're there in Hanuman on side 2, which is probably different than side 1, which is why our inversions are sometimes wonky. Okay, so right forearm down, left hand is going to help. You're doing a little push-pull action with your hands, and you're trying to get your right hip to be as far forward as your left hip. It should feel pretty good. If it doesn't feel good, you need to back up or change something. Okay, we'll meet in Pasasana. So take your time sitting there, facing the long edge of your mat, and either propping yourself up on your hands so that you're in a straight line, or lowering to your butt and then you're aiming for a straight line, but it might not be so. Okay, and if you're on your hands, then come down to your butt. Parighasana, soles of the feet together. Inhale, and let's fold forward. Exhale, chest forward, pose. It's a pretty flat back here. You're aiming yourself pretty far forward. Let's inhale. Just bring the knees together. I'm just going to face this way. You don't have to change where you're facing just yet. We're going to have our heels as close to our hips as we can and reach forward. Try to squeeze your knees together while you do this. It's super uncomfortable. Try to round your back a little bit and lean your shoulders toward your knees. And we'll turn it into a squat. And you can still be facing the long edge of your mat. It's fine. We're going to turn it into Pasasana, which I know you love. So, we twist to the left first in Pasasana. So we're going to rise up and hook our right arm. You don't have to rise up. I just think it's easier that way. So it's like a Urdhva Dhanurasanas with a hook. Then just like your other bind, your thumb is going to lead the party. Your elbow will bend in front of your shins, and your hands will hold near your right hip. And you can get off the Pasasana train at any point. You could be in a twisted Urdhva, or you could be binding one leg. You could just have your arms binding over your left leg instead of both. Let's get out of there and sit on our butts again. Backbends B. So in this one, we're very rounded. It's crazy hard. We're going to bring chin to chest and aim our head for our feet. And after a whole lot of primary, it tends to work out pretty well. But we haven't done all of the primary, so we might struggle today. You're going to try to think of scooping your low belly. And let's unravel up. Bring the knees in, heels close to your butt. Lean forward, reach forward. And just notice how tempting it is for the knees to splay out or to lean back. God, it would be so much more comfortable if we could do all those things. But instead, here we are, just uncomfortable for a few breaths. Okay, we'll come into squatting. And we'll take it to the other side, Pasasana. So it's the same bind you did in the lunge. It's just way harder because you have two legs. But you could go around one leg instead if you want, or you would stay somewhat here. I'm going to spin again to face the back because the exciting stuff is behind us in this pose. So you could reach the top arm first. For me, the bottom arm is just the one that struggles. So I try to get that one first. And you'll notice it wants to be by your ankle. That's not going to work. It has to be up by your hip. So that takes, a couple of years to figure out how to get it off the ankle. And wherever you are, try to keep your weight relatively equal in both feet and in the front and back of your foot. And when you've had enough of such things, just come out of that. And let's face front and just vinyasa. Forget that it happened. Okay, right leg forward. Asana. Stay there, I'm just grabbing my towel. Okay. My towel is like so wet that it's not really that helpful at this point. I gotta get another towel. Okay, so feel free to do the same thing we did before. Left hand to inside the foot. Or this time you're just gonna slide it up to the elbow. And it's a similar stretch for this hip, just more. And if you're on the elbow, you're gonna reach your right arm over. And you're gonna try to square your ribs. Especially if your right arm is going up and over, it's tempting to start to veer your torso to the left. Try to pull your right ribs back. Press your head into your arm. And slowly let that go. Right leg pigeon. Just walk it across. And lower the knee. Upward facing pigeon this time. So you'll notice it's kind of tough to stay upward facing. The back just kind of wants to lean us forward. So let's make it a little easier. We're going to bring left hand to outside of back foot, right hand to inside of back foot, and interlace the fingers. Kick into the hand, and you'll notice you just went from leaning forward like this to being more upright. So it's just a function of that back leg kicking. And all of a sudden the chest is open, throat is open. Okay, slowly get out of there. Downward dog. We're going to try to go back and forth between a less back bendy version of pincha and a more back bendy version. So all that means is that you need to change your gaze when you're up there. So let's try. I'll do this one with you, and then when we do it again, I'm going to watch you on the second one. So just make sure you start in a good place. I've been seeing these Instagram people. They're excited that they got a balance, so I'm happy for them. But their elbows are like out here. And I want to say life would be so much easier if you just took a second first and just measured it out. So I suggest you do that. Then forearms parallel. Lift up whenever you're ready. And just notice, where are you looking? Where is it comfortable to look? Then go a little bit further with your eyeballs, a little more back bendy. Go back to the comfortable place And then go closer to your elbows with your eyes. So you're again a little uncomfortable. And then get comfortable again. And just go back and forth at your pace. And just notice how your legs have to lift up toward the ceiling more when you come out of your back bend. So they go away from your wall if you have a wall. We're going to meet in child's pose whenever you're done with that. And for this particular child's pose, we're going to make fists and put them just to the sides of the belly button so that when we lean forward, we have our knuckles digging into the belly. If you find that you don't have enough space for a whole hand, you can just do fingertips instead. And then when you fold, your hands would be a little less space consuming. Okay, and slowly get out of there, Vinyasa. Let's bring the left foot forward. So we're on Anjaneyasana side 2. We'll reach the right hand back for the inside of the foot. Relax a little bit. Don't get too uptight because that's going to make it really hard for the right hip flexors to relax. Your brain is in control of that. Okay, if you wanted, you take it to the elbow. Your left arm is going to come up and over. And we'll try to keep bending that front knee. Keep dropping the hips. And to square your ribs, you might have to think of pushing the left ribs back. You also might have to think about bringing right hips forward, or right ribs forward. Whatever mind game works for you, do that. Let's let that go. Left leg walks itself into pigeon. We have to draw up through the low belly so that we don't overdo any back bend. When you're ready, hands to the back ankle. Interlace to the webbing if you can, like you did in your Prasarita C. And the more you kick, the easier it is to be upright. It should feel pretty good in the chest and shoulders. You can also squeeze your legs together so your pelvis rises a bit away from the floor. Then it's going to be easier to square your hips. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. Step back, Vinyasa if you want to. And we'll make our way again to the Vishvamitrasana where we change the gaze. I'm going to have a look-see this time. So if you are using the wall, just know that your feet have to move on that wall. And remember that the wall is not necessary. It's your like backup plan. So even if you have one in your house, it doesn't mean you have to use it. Okay, so Miss Ashley, you just have to have your feet at all times aim a little bit further than you think they should. Try it again. Hi, Jack. And Lisa, when you're kicking, keep your top leg straighter. The one that's up in the air right now, keep it straight. Because if it bends, it's going to reach for the wall too quickly. Okay. Yabasta. Enough already. So we'll meet in that child's pose. Give yourself the pressure points just to the side of your belly button, rounding the back. And let's rise up, and we'll meet on our butts with the legs out for Upavishta Konasana. So not a Samakhanasana, 180 degrees, much more V-shaped. Reach for the edges of your feet, chest down. And try to get your back somewhat long and squashed to the ground. And Karen, maybe try lifting your elbows a little bit. Then you'll have a different kind of pole situation. I know it seems crazy. It's like this versus this. It's like a two-inch thing. Okay, good. Let's come on up. Wiggle the legs in. And we're gonna lay back for right leg happy baby. So we're gonna try to get that right knee all the way to the ground. That might mean that the left leg cannot also be on the ground. Take another breath. And bring the right leg across in baby cradle. Put in left elbow. Shin lining up with your chest. And again, that might mean that your left leg does not stay along the mat. It could lift up to the ceiling, much easier there. It could bend and put sole of foot on the ground. Really anything you can think of to do with that left leg to make this pose bearable, do that. Okay, do a little sit-up. Put your ankle in your elbow crease. Bring your right arm around to make a pillow. And start to press your head back so that your right arm eventually touches the floor. Mine never does, but yours might. Maybe in a year mine will. Who knows? You can play with the left leg or you can keep it in one spot. Okay, let that go. Release your legs. Rock and roll until you can sit up. And let's find left leg straight. Virasana with the right leg so we can come into Parighasana. We'll fold that right leg back. Twist toward the bent knee. And then reach the right arm up and over. Try to slide this left shoulder inside of the leg. The left hand, you could keep it on your right hip. You could walk it out in front of you and use that to help you get the left shoulder inside the knee. Full pose would be bopping it onto the foot. I also like to sometimes poke it into my top elbow and try to get that elbow to move up. Okay, slowly get out of there. Vinyasa for the sake of not holding the breath. And we'll get to do all of that on side two. So we'll come through to sitting. Left leg, happy baby. So we do think here about getting that left knee to the floor. But because that's going pretty well at this stage of the game, it's a crazy hip flexor stretch for this right leg. Sometimes we're distracted by this fancy leg over here, the left one, but really, I feel a lot right here. Okay, make it a baby cradle, foot to the elbow crease. Push the foot to the right so that your shin bone is over your body. It's not over to the side of your body, it's straight over. So your left hip might be distracting you from the right quad stretch, hip flexor stretch. That's fine. You can eliminate it altogether, that right leg stretch, by just lifting it up. Also, try not to let your leg kick your arms out of the socket. All right, we'll change it up. Put the ankle in the elbow. Left arm comes around. The head will press back so that the throat is open. If it's too much in any way, just repeat one of the other ones we did. Okay. We'll slowly get out of there. Rock and roll till you can sit up. We'll have the right leg straight, the left leg bent. Twist, inhale, and side bend. So there's a lot happening. If your right hamstring is distracting you from this pose, you might not get your shoulder all the way inside of your knee. If your back knee is hurting or your ankle's hurting, just straighten the leg. There's no point in dealing with a Virasana leg if it's painful. Okay, and let's get out of there and vinyasa. Need about an hour more. Okay. So we're going to attempt a twist while we're in a side plank. So we're going to step our right foot forward of our right hand and angle your back foot. So the legs are like a long warrior two. And this is one of those things where you can get off the train at any time. We'll get our right shoulder inside of the knee and walk our foot a little to the left. You could lift your left arm up and hug your knee on your arm, or you can reach for your foot and start to extend the leg out. It's actually a lot easier than it looks. It's gonna feel a lot like your Parighasana. I'm just gonna have a little look-see. Lisa, you might have that easier time getting the leg higher if you hold the foot. There you go. Very nice. It looks a lot harder than it is. Let's try the other side. I mean, it's hard, but it looks impossible, whereas it's just awkward, but it is sort of possible. So you're going to dip your shoulder inside, walk this left foot over to the right, and then once the foot comes off the ground, your right arm is free. And then you decide, do you want to hold the edge of the foot or not? So it's very much like your Parighasana. Nice. And we'll just get out of there with a nice normal vinyasa. Okay. Let's take our Vishvamitrasana into a bit of a back bend, and this time instead of moving back and forth, we're just going to try to stay there and take 5 breaths. So don't go to a degree that you cannot stay in for 5 breaths. Let's meet up there. And I'll be able to potentially see you guys because my computer is at the top of my mat. Just depends how far forward I can look. No, I can't see. So you choose scorpion or pincha, but you need to stay there for the 5 breaths. Oh, I can see you. It's funny. I had a little extra motivation to lift my chin higher. Okay. Good. So let's just come to normal downward dog. Shake out the head. Rock forward to plank. And lower down to the belly. We did this at some point last week. We're going to try the crisscrossed wrists for Dhanurasana. So bend your knees, left hand to right ankle. You'll have to lean to the side. Right hand, slide it under, like across your low back, and it's going to go over to your left ankle. And get your toes, inner toes to touch. And start kicking. Yeah, there's a bit of a wiggle, and then once you have your grip and your inner toes touch, you can lift. Lisa, that is a hot mess going on over there. Okay, get out of there. We're gonna try the other side because you have to cross both ways. Okay, so now we're gonna go right hand to left ankle. You lean to the left, then slide your left arm along your low back. Your hand is free. Find your right ankle. Then rock to center. Touch your inner toes together and kick. There you go. So because this side was no problem, it just probably means you have some uneven shoulder flexibility. No big deal. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. Hands down, inhale, upward facing. And exhale, downward face. Okay, come through, have a seat. Let us lay back. Setu Bandha Parighasana. Hips up. Let's lower down to our butt. For Urdhva Dhanurasana, 5 breaths. Inhale to push. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Come on down. So this next one we'll do on the forearms. So we're going to replace hands with elbows. So start the same way. Come up to the top of the head and walk your fingers toward your feet. So you get an elbow down, and then the other arm, you get an elbow down. And try to lift your head. Look toward your fingers. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. The way out is lower to the crown of the head. Bring your palms flat again. Straighten the arms. Inhale. And lower to your back. Exhale, just like you would any Urdhva Dhanurasana. Okay. Let's bring the right ankle to the lower left thigh. Thread the needle. Hold the left shin. And just pull the knee in for a moment. Widen the low back. Change legs. Okay, so this next round of back bend, we're going to do it with the idea of rocking. You've probably seen it. I know most of you have done it. So in case you haven't, it will just look like this. Just forward and back. When the legs are straighter, the wrists are going to be much more comfortable. So give that a try. I'm just going to have a look at you guys while you do that from Urdhva Dhanurasana. You can do it from the wall also if you put your hands on the baseboard. And Lisa, let's walk your feet closer to your hands and then do the same thing. Okay, good. So now let's try that same thing from the forearm version of wheel, like what you did before. And probably we can all do that together. There's really nothing to see. It's the one where you put your forearms down. So to get the rocking, you do have to get your head off the ground. It's just this little nudge of chest through arms. So just find your way there. And if it's too intense, repeat your version from Urdhva Dhanurasana. Okay, good. Come on down if you're still up. And let's just vinyasa. Let's bring the right foot forward. Angle back foot down, just like we did before. Just start dropping the elbows, if possible. So you're just opening the hip. You're widening the low back. Drop your head. It should be really comfortable and somewhat of a relief. Return to the palms and just change legs. Make sure the outer edge of your right foot is pressing down, otherwise you're going to have a weird torque on that knee. Okay, rise up. Let's bring both feet forward and squat. Okay, so while we're squatting, we're on the whole sole of the foot. No problem. We're just going to then lean onto the knees and have the heel come up. And let's just do that a few times and just see what has to happen for you to land on your heel and then you come onto your knees. So it's kind of it's like a little drill that is not a yoga pose. So I just want you to feel that your feet, they can change their foundation pretty quickly. And the body will adjust for such a thing. So the reason we're practicing that is because to go from here to Urdhva Dhanurasana, our feet have a lot of work to do. We did this, was it last Friday? No, it was Monday. I think it was Monday. So right now the toes are tucked, the heels are up. When I go to land, oh, hello, little Blaze. There's a cutie pie on the screen. Oh my God. Ashley's dog is just amazing. Okay, so my heels are up. When I want to go to Urdhva Dhanurasana, the heels have to come down. And the hard part is lifting the heels up again. So I might walk my feet in. I would practice that rocking that we did. And then I'd take it to the extreme. Same idea of rocking, and then idea of going from the squat to these, just more. So give it a try. I'm going to have a look-see. And Carol, if you don't want to do that, do a different back bend. But definitely don't watch the screen because there ain't nothing to be doing up there. Blaze, you got to move out of Mama's way, or she's going to crush your little cute body. Oh, Lisa, that was amazing. Okay. So let's talk arms for a sec. So in any back bend, your arms are overhead. Sometimes if our shoulders are tight, they're more here, which is kind of why we end up with wrist issues. So we want as much as possible for the arms to go overhead. If they start doing something else, like going out to the side or over to one side, you'll end up with a torque that you don't want. So reach up and keep thinking up. As your head changes its rotation, up will become down. And then when you come to your return trip, if you're not used to it, you could just keep them up. But they have to do the same thing, right and left together. Try it one more time. Go real slow, if possible. The last little bit, you have to go fast because momentum helps you. But, oh, it's so much better already than it was. Yeah. It's a little bit about being stubborn too. Ashley, that was hilarious. Okay. Good. Carrie, that's good. Your hips will stay really far forward. Okay. I am happy. Let's come to our butts and bring the soles of the feet together for a moment. Interlace the fingers around the toes. And on your inhale, pull your chest forward. Exhale, round yourself. that a few more times. It's kind of amazing. That backbend that we just tried is same concept as handstand and same concept as the very first thing we did in class today, where we were just lifting our heels and trying to get our shoulders to go with our hips. We just need all the pieces to be in their proper inch location. 3 inches doesn't work. It has to be precise. So let's come to handstand again, and that will help you get your bandhas back online. So I would face this way, because then if I fall, it's okay. And you choose, do you go one leg or both legs? Once you get up, you're going to try to think of getting your arms a little straighter, pushing the floor away from you, using your fingertips, and whenever you've had enough, then just come on down. My enough was a cartwheel out to the side. Okay, so we'll come down to our butts again. Take your time getting there, and we're going to meet in a big diamond shape. So our heels are further from the pelvis than they were in Parighasana. And bring your head to the arches of your feet. And it's going to feel like your arches were designed purely for this reason. Like a perfect fit. Try to draw the belly in so there's an even curve. And start to rise up. We'll find our squat. Baby Backbends, which is the same idea of rounding, same idea of drawing the belly in. Knees to the armpits. Rock the weight forward, lift the toes toward your butt, or your heels toward your butt, and your toes will come up as well. Head is off the ground. And when you've had enough of such things, just step back and vinyasa or downward dog. We'll come through, have a seat. Right leg, either Vishvamitrasana, total foot to thigh, or half lotus. Half lotus I like here because remember earlier we were in child's pose, we were digging our fingers into our butts, just to the side of the belly button. So if you're in half lotus, your heel is going to do that. You can wrap the right arm around your back. And Carrie, try to get your right shoulder to come forward a little more level with the two shoulders kind of facing the ground at the same rate. Okay, and let's rise up and change sides. So for your half lotus to allow the bind, it has to be all the way foot at hip crease. If you can't quite get that, you can squish your quads for a few years and eventually you'll get that. Just eliminate the bind for now. But you won't be hurting anything if you squish your right quads for a bit. And Ash, your foot is kind of angled to the side a bit. Let's try to get a little more upright. Yes. Okay, and let's start to come out of it. Vinyasa. All right, so some inversion of your choosing. We're just going to do a split while we're up there. So easiest would be headstand or shoulder stand. But you could do something else if you want. I'm just going to talk you through it. Because you won't be able to look at me anyway when you're upside down. So find your inversion of choice. glue your legs together, like you feel actual pressure, like you're holding $100 between your feet. Take a breath there. And one leg is going to stay there. The other leg is going to come down to the floor. It may or may not actually touch the floor. But the closer it gets to the floor, the stronger your top leg has to be. Carol, you can go lower with that leg. You can still go a little lower. You basically go until you're maxed out and you're split. And then very slowly lift that bottom leg up again. Find that middle point where everything's pressing together, and then go for the other side. And you'll notice how slow you have to go, especially those of you approaching the ground. You really have to know where is your top leg. This pose can't be done with your attention only in one section. Good. Bring both legs up again. Squeeze your legs together. And bring the knees toward the chest. And take a breath or two there. Curled into a little ball. Your back is actually going to round. Good. And then Carol, you'll come into child's pose. Carry, place your palms flat so you can roll out of shoulder stand. Okay. So my only issue with that was some of the descents from headstand were a little fast. Say lovey. Next time we're gonna go slower. Okay, so let's roll up and have a seat. Right leg either on top or in front so that you can potentially choose lotus. Left arm around the back. And Ashley, you could go for full, we'll see. So you're gonna take a really big twist. I'm gonna turn so you see from the back. And the left hand will grip the right toes, and then I might even use my right hand on my left knee to twist a little more and try to get the flesh of this arm and this side body to work out a little of the squishiness so that it's deeper. Then that right arm is going to whip around. Yeah, okay, almost. Try again. She's like, no. So the foot does have to be real high up. And then once you have your grip of choosing, fold forward. You can always hold opposite elbows if this doesn't work. And we'll slowly let that go, rise up, and make your way to your Shavasana. If there's a pose you need before that, do a different pose first. I told Carol I would sing to y'all again, even though my repertoire is so small. You will just hear the same songs on rotation. And if you don't want to, feel free to leave the meeting and take your Shavasana in quiet. Guru Chalana, Saro Sharaja, Nijamara Guru Sudari, Varunam Ratu Varavimalajasu, Jodaya Gupalachari, Udihinatanu Janike, A few more breaths here. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes, curl up into a ball. And eventually sit up. Bring the hands together, thumbs at the third eye between the brows. Fold forward any amount, take a breath or two. Namaste.